Oh god. Here we go. We have the vetoes done. The players are ready. We are loading in to game number 1 in this PvP.
And what a treat we have. We're back home late. I have missed this. 2 players who have been so missing for so long. We're starting off on Death Aura LE. We're in the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner. The blue Protoss player coming down from South Korea. He is the biggest boy himself. Currently teamless, we have PartinG.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Death Aura LE, we have another one of these teamless players. We're in the teamless portion of the brackets. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss. It is Trap.
And man, it is good to be having back.
Yeah, as you said, for the longest time, PartinG, he only really showed his face in the NA weeklies every now and then. Back before like the times were changed for the Korea weeklies, did we see PartinG? It's been a long time.
It really has. PartinG, he is kind of known to be much more of a morning person. And of course, those few times we were actually able to catch PartinG, I still remember this slide, I'm still not over it. Those few times we were able to actually cover PartinG in ESL Asia, he had to cut it short because he had other commitments, like, you know, sometimes it was another tournament he had to play in, sometimes it was like, I imagine like team practice back when he was still on DPG. It was something or another. Yeah. Thankfully, I guess, in this time period, or towards the end of 2020, a lot of the Chinese events have finished up. Because that was kind of an issue with this weekly, where like there were a decent amount of players who were like, "Oh, I have a team match to play, and it clashes with ESL Weekly." And it was usually the Chinese players as well. So yeah, thanks ESL Asia for scheduling or what have you. Nah, but it should be better as next year goes on. They did sort of change, make the the schedule change a little bit impromptu, and by then a lot of the Chinese events had already committed.
Yes, they
so
had.
It should be better next year.
But now they're all done. And meanwhile, PartinG is, being a little bit annoying, delaying the natural of Trap for as long as he can. Even finishes the Cybercore.
And this is why we miss PartinG. What can we say?
Meanwhile, I'm sure Trap would have loved to have done the same, but he only was able to throw down a single pylon. The probe itself is being chased down by these adepts.
All things considered, I feel like PartinG and Trap will end up getting a natural Nexus at about the same time. Trap would actually be able to get it quicker.
Oh yeah, that he will. Meanwhile, PartinG opted to get it at the third base location.
He's been playing too much Zerg.
Oh, he knew based off that timing, he's like, yo, my natural's gonna be so much later if I don't do something crazy. So he did something crazy.
Well.
Meanwhile, we do have the adepts across the map for PartinG. They were able to slip past the Stalkers, but there is a wall off here. He can't quite make it into the natural.
Yeah, it's nice and solid over there. Yeah, adepts, they don't do too much against buildings. Will be forced to back away. PartinG still setting up this base while chipping away at that pylon.
Yeah.
Like this is, yep, there we go. Trap is suspicious. Goes and does confirm that PartinG is one-basing it.
Exactly. And what's crazy is that the SimCity of Trap, he decided not to go for the wall off on top of the ramp, which is very standard in PvP. Instead, he was being a little bit more greedy and is walling off here at the natural.
Yeah, it is definitely a risk reward. I do feel like on Death Aura in particular, where the choke is that narrow, you can try to get away with that, and we just saw Trap. He was able to get away with it, but yeah, even still.
Yeah, on this map, it does require a lot less to wall off. Meanwhile, both players did go for their Stargates. They are both harassing each other with their Oracles.
Yeah, but the main difference is Trap had a shield battery ready. PartinG, his was still underway. Trap able to make it out of there with more probes done. More probes down, I mean.
Yes, but PartinG was able to escape with his Oracle. Meanwhile, Trap's Oracle did go down to the Void Rays, so yeah, I guess we'll see if it was worth it, especially since Trap opted to go for a second Oracle.
Yeah, trying to start to one-shot these probes, but PartinG is well aware. He's even moving into the Void Ray, trying to flank. But for all the buffs, Void Ray's still not as fast as an Oracle.
Not quite. So in the end, PartinG, he is a little bit down in terms of the worker count. He has to start working his way up. Meanwhile, Trap, he's starting to turn things on. We have a Dark Shrine on the way.
Are we sure we don't have the colors mixed up here? Like,
I was about to
Trap
say
is the one going for the Dark Shrine?
Yeah. It's like Trap is being the aggressor here, and it's something that we don't typically see in this matchup, especially, you know, when PartinG is going to be on the receiving end of this.
I am so surprised.
But this is one of the things that you can abuse, like, because Trap has his cyber core on the low ground, like, he doesn't have that high ground advantage to keep his tech alive, and now we have the Void Rays coming across the map as well for PartinG. Like, again, the tech is a little bit vulnerable here for Trap. Oh god.
Yeah, that choke point is not going to be a choke point for much longer. Still has a stasis ward that covers just about all of that area. We'd always try to deny that with just a single adept.
Yeah.
And as you said, just chipping away the infrastructure.
Has to be so careful, does bait it with the adepts, and what's important, he just took out the cyber core and a gateway. No more stalkers here for Trap, as Trap, like, this is it, this is all he has.
Your subconscious is as surprised as your conscious. PartinG did confirm the Dark Shrine.
That he did. But when he is able to use that revelation on the DT, so the DT does get into the mineral line, but it gets taken out after 3 kills.
Just like so.
Oh, he's body blocking. Did you see it? Oh god.
But he's moving a little bit away from there. No forge, so can't quite get the cannons out. We see the PartinG is desperately trying to get an observer out. He cannot rely on his revelations for much longer. His Oracle is completely out of energy.
Exactly, and Trap, he knows that. He's just continuing to warp in single DT after single DT, getting into the main base, getting into the natural, just denying all this mining time.
Eventually, the probe damage will stack up. One more DT going to be going down. The observer just about makes it out. But Trap getting himself on a nice, comfortable lead here. 8 probes. And he's continuing to expand.
Exactly. He's got the worker lead. He's got the base lead. He's even throwing down some stasis traps to make sure he's safe defensively. Oh, that was actually a PartinG stasis trap. Never mind. I thought they were both traps.
Yeah, you would expect Trap to be throwing down all the traps around.
Yeah.
With them stasises.
As he is, and we'll see if PartinG can find another like angle to abuse here. Like, he still has that advantage when it comes to the Void Rays he was able to utilize, but it feels like, you know, it's kind of fallen off, and now he's forced to expand, take his own third.
And with it, things are going to be slowing down for a little bit. It'll be interesting to see, though, how these 2 players divert in their tech. Obviously, Trap going to be a little bit more gateway focus. Might decide to throw down a Templar Archives, or just stick with the Dark Shrine in order to get Archons out. Whereas PartinG probably going to be a little bit more robo-focused. I say that, but Trap is going to be the first player to get Immortals out.
Yeah, you know, we do see he is switching his tech up. He is getting that charge lot. He's working on his Immortals as well. Interesting. So he's not opting to go for that Blink Stalker Disruptor style of PvP. He's opting to go for charge lots instead.
Yeah, which in their own way are kind of disruptors. They come in and disrupt the positioning here of the opponent's army.
Yeah, it's really difficult to, like, use Blink Stalkers effectively against charge lots, right? Because they just ignore you and they just get in your face. They're a nice buffer unit, but we do have PartinG. He's trying to push in here.
And a single stalker sets off the stasis trap. Beautiful force fields coming out from PartinG. Immortal completely taken out of the running.
Yeah, exactly. Nicely done. Even able to take out the second stasis trap as well. That is it. Meanwhile, to be fair, this is a pretty nice defensive position. We do have 2 shield batteries here. Overcharge is available for Trap.
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent defensive position. PartinG is going to be getting a nice little concave, though, up in terms of the army supply, and continuing to micro these stalkers to his heart's content. Has to be careful, though, leaving his sentries quite exposed.
Yeah, and Trap with those shield batteries, with that overcharge, is able to overpower PartinG and push on forward.
Nice little stasis trap. PartinG taking the initiative, but doesn't quite want to go up the ramp. Trying to get a couple of quick little warp-ins while he has the time, while he knows that his Warp Prism isn't as vulnerable.
Exactly, hoping to get a couple of free kills here as well. Meanwhile, his own Warp Prism is so low, he has to be so careful with it. Oh, and it gets taken out.
It does get taken out. And there's no easy out here for PartinG. He has to either fight or blink away as best as he can. But the scary part is, Trap has blinked too. He can keep up with these Stalkers.
Oh, that he can. And Trap, to be fair, he doesn't have a War Prism with his army, so if he goes across the map, this is all he has, taking it with him. There it is, the War Prism does come out for Trap, so if he wants to, he can push out, he can reinforce. But PartinG is trying his best to keep a Trap at bay.
But it's not too effective here as Trap just continues to get his economy up. PartinG is still lagging pretty far behind here.
Yeah.
No intention of getting a 4th base anytime soon, and still down 6 workers.
To be fair, it is only 6, right? It isn't as the disparity in workers isn't as large as it was in the past. But as you said, he needs another base. He needs other tech as well. And here we go. We have the robotics bay being thrown down. He wants those disruptors.
He wants those disruptors. I was trying to go back into my memory banks and think, is PartinG one to go for Colossus in PvP? Yes, but not when he's up against Stalkers. He usually gets it when his opponent's playing Charged Archon.
Yeah, exactly. And we also see Trap, he is working on his upgrades. He is still continuing to expand and, kind of taking control of the center of the map.
Yeah, doesn't want to push in just yet, but he definitely has the advantage, both in terms of supply and upgrades. I only now noticed that PartinG is just getting his +1.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. That's a big of a nerf, right? Like, being down 2 upgrades, that's insane in a mirror matchup.
And with it, it just allows Trap to do whatever he wants, really. Start throwing bodies over at PartinG.
Yeah, and we were talking about it, mate. Is he one to go Colossus? He is one to go Colossus. He doesn't even care if your opponent has Blink Stalkers.
It's all coming back to me, Light. That was a Charged Archon game. That was a Disruptor game that PartinG played.
To be fair, there are Chargers, there are Archons. It isn't like a big commitment into that composition because of the Immortals and the Stalkers. It's a bit of a hybrid. So the Colossus, they can do well here, but the army isn't in position. The 4th base is cancelled.
And I'm just going to be rotating. So I want to stay in that position for too long. Just trying to find another opening. Gets good eyes on that army. PartinG blinking forward, trying to see what he can get done, but he blinks right on top of the entire army of Trap.
Oh god, you don't want to be doing that, especially when Trap has that massive upgrade advantage already with +2. Blinks forward, focuses down the Colossus.
Yeah, popping that battery overcharge, but the numbers just are not on PartinG's side. Trap, once again, say it with me, Light. He's got this. GG is called.
And Trap takes game number 1 in this best of 3. And honestly, like, PartinG was looking really strong when he pushed out across the map with those 2 Void Rays, if you recall, close to the beginning of the game. But then he was forced back. He had to spend so many resources and he lost a lot of workers defending against those DTs. Like, those DTs did so well for Trap.
An insane amount of damage. So what happens when he only had an Oracle for detection.
Yeah.
He didn't even have the robo facility. He had to make it.
He did. He had to wait to make it. He was trying his best to, like, wall off on top of his ramp at his main. He was doing whatever he could to defend. And as that was happening, like, Trap, he was chilling at home. He was expanding. He was making workers, getting a forge.
Yeah, just knitting. Just imagine that Trap is, like, at a fireplace. While PartinG is at his window saying, "Please, I'm dying." He's not doing that. He's not begging, "Please, I'm dying." He's just dying.
In my mind, it's Trap, like, he's at his fireplace, he's knitting like a sweater or something, and then, like, the camera pans over to the window next to him, and off in the distance you see, like, PartinG in the forest, and there's like, he's like in the middle of a forest fire or something. He's like, oh god.
And then Trap takes a sip from his cup and is like, "This is fine." But speaking of fine, we are now on Light Shade LE. We're in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner map. We have the fine Protoss player coming down from South Korea. He is going to be representing himself as he's currently teamless. We have PartinG.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the other teamless player. We have the teamless Protoss player. He's red. He is Trap.
Now, Lightshade, definitely quite a bit of a different map.
And Trap,
I would say that if... Yeah?
he's doing it again. Like, this is something you rarely see. Like, you just forego the wall, like on top of the ramp, and you just go for it at your natural. And you can't use it as the excuse for Death Aura, where Death Aura, like, you can afford to do so because you need less buildings, right?
Yeah, this is on Lightshade. It's a bit deceptive. It looks narrow, but there are still those little gaps that inevitably end up happening. So you still need 3 buildings to wall off in that natural base.
Yeah, definitely. It just feels very greedy from Trap, and like we see it, he is getting the wall up. He's using this to get a faster expansion as well, much faster compared to PartinG. So we'll see what his response is going to be to this. Oh my.
That's a response.
Yep. Oh,
I was going to say, on a larger map like Lightshade, I feel like this is where PartinG, he takes the initiative. He decides to throw down a bit of a proxy.
And so far, we have that pylon. We'll see if he throws down a gateway to reinforce across the map. We have Stalkers on the way, not Adepts this time for PartinG.
Yeah, being a little bit more defensive. Obviously, Stalkers can still be used as a little bit of harass, but they are not going to get the probe damage that Adepts do. It's mostly just there to pressure.
Exactly. These Stalkers are going to hit so much harder across the map, when it comes to a main army engagement, as opposed to Adepts, which are more adept at harassing those Stalkers. So he's going to be sending his Stalkers across the map, meeting up with this proxy and just pushing into the natural of Trap.
I'm just waiting for the warp gate timing. It is still on its way here. It's just parting so much reinforcements. Gets a probe in, takes a nice cheeky scout at what Trap is going for. Does confirm the Stargate, or does he?
He does not confirm the Stargate. He does not see it, but I don't know if he even cares. Meanwhile, Trap hasn't spotted the proxy. He's unaware how aggressive PartinG is looking to be.
Yeah, I do like that he opted for the Stalkers this time, being a little bit more defensive. Does not chase them all the way.
Ooh. And we'll see what his first unit is going to be. Like, if he realizes what's coming his way, there it is. A Void Ray is coming out, looking to be more defensive here, not opting to go for an Oracle for those worker kills.
Yeah, he even rallies it right to the right position. I guess that's a bit of a tell here for Trap when he sees those Stalkers across the map. Nobody just sends 2 Stalkers.
Exactly. To be fair, PartinG isn't all in. Trap does send a worker across the map, does confirm the natural. Oh, the shield battery's down.
Oh, now he's going to have to be so much more careful. The shield battery is down. That is a lone pylon powering all of that. There should be just about enough Stalkers here. Yep, there we go. 2 shots, the Void Ray. And there's just not enough here for Trap to defend. He's trying to buy himself time for that shield battery to go up, and he does do it fairly well.
Yeah, exactly. This shield battery is just about to finish up. That means Overcharge is available for Trap.
And that should just about be all he needs, but once again, there's only a single pylon powering all of this.
Exactly. PartinG can just focus that down. He reinforces. He has so many more Stalkers here, looking to try and bust through Trap.
Battery overcharge does get popped. PartinG does have just enough Stalkers to one-shot these Stalkers here of Trap. Doesn't really want to contest with that now that the overcharge as well as the Void Ray's out, though.
Yeah, exactly. He does take out one more of the Stalkers. There's only 1 Stalker and 1 Void Ray remaining. It looks like PartinG is going to be able to do it.
GG. PartinG. You'll be tying up the series sideways 1-1, and that is why Trap did not want to play this particular matchup.
GG. PartinG ties it up, and he punishes the greed there from Trap. Again, Trap going for that faster Nexus, going for that low ground wall. Mate, you're up against PartinG.
Just because he didn't proxy you into game number 1 doesn't mean he's had a complete change of playstyle.
Exactly. Oh boy, and GG. So we are tied up. We are going to be getting ready to get into game number 3. But before that happens, you know, we have a little bit of a break, you know, asking for a bit of a bio break, our players are.
Yeah? I would never want a bio break, personally.
Be a Terran.
I just much prefer bio than mech. Playing and watching it.
True. Oh god. So, you know, since we do have this break, everyone !B in the chat if you want to have a look at that bracket, and we can see what's been transpiring as we've been in the series.
Yeah, and while you're there, you may as well also throw down !menu pog in the chat.
Yeah, if you want to get that sweet discounts with that menu log. If you're in Australia, there is no discount. We're not sponsored by in any way, shape, or form. But you know, the command is still there.
Yeah, not sure what it does, but you know, well, it gives you a clip, but I just ruined the surprise for you. I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, oh my god, it looks like the first semifinals is ready. It looks like they haven't started, luckily. Solar versus Zest.
Okay. Solar taking out Creator 2-0, and Zest taking out Cure 2-1 over there. Now that's gonna be an interesting PvZ. I feel like when you think of, you normally think of the best Protoss players and the best Zerg players, right? You think of, when it comes to the best Protoss players, you think of, you know, Stats, Trap, Zest, PartinG. When you think of the best Zerg players, you also think of, you know, Rogue, Solar, Dark, Serral. You don't necessarily think of Solar versus Zest, though, for whatever reason. Or at least I don't. For me, it's usually more like Stats Rogue or, you know, Trap Serral or what have you.
Solar Zest, that was a matchup, a very iconic matchup back in the day, back in the more earlier days of Legacy of the Void and even Heart of the Swarm. Like Solar, there was a time period where he was known for his ZVP. And this was around the same era where Zest was the best Protoss player in the world. So we would see them go back and forth, and it was always exciting to see that happen. Nowadays, Solar isn't that ZVP specialist, but as you said, like, they are still the top of their races. They are still the best in the world, so that's going to be amazing semifinals to get into. And another pretty interesting result, I know you're going to be hyped for this, Armani took down Dark.
I had to mute myself, but my grin is wide.
I almost regret it because, fun fact, when we got into Trap versus Beyond, it was a fresh series. Armani versus Dark was also available to us, and I'm like, we'll get a Terran, you know, we won't go for the mirror matchup. I'm sorry, Armani, like, he was even messaging me.
You knew. Your boy was messaging me.
But I felt like, I know that wouldn't have been a very interesting series, but I was wrong. Armani took down Dark. That's so hype. That's great.
I'm smiling so wide. And on the plus side, at least we got a Terran player today, but that's gonna be enough of that. Here we are in Oxide LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner map. We have the blue Protoss player coming up from South Korea once again. Everybody should probably tune into his stream, ? I should confirm whether or not he's streaming. We have the teamless PartinG.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss. He's teamless. He is a Trap.
Thanks, Admiral.
Oh god. Imagine if Trap was on Team Envy. I don't want to be in that timeline.
Would you? I mean, I feel like they've picked up just about every other. I feel like they've just about picked up every other ex-Jin aside from obviously Rogue and Cure.
Yeah, there's still a couple of these teamless players out there. As you said, it was, I believe, a week ago, maybe just over a week ago, where Jin Air did disband, unfortunately. But for the most part, the majority of those players have been picked up by some of these other teams. We've even had a straight-up new team pop out because of the disbandment of BSG, I believe, Brave Star Gaming.
It was BSG. Why did you have to remind me of it again, Light?
GGG. Oh god.
Good game gaming. And speaking of GGG, PartinG with the immediate scout on this Proxy Robo. I mean, you were talking about it a little bit earlier, like Proxy Robo, it sort of came out of fashion, not because of this reason, but we'll be seeing PartinG utilize those shield batteries in order to defend against this.
Yeah.
Now that he's seen it.
Speaking of which, shield batteries are being thrown down to try and keep this alive, but the first shield battery was taken out by the probes. The Zealot is here as well, not allowing those shield batteries to finish up. Meanwhile, Trap, he does send his Stalker. He's trying to make sure this Robo finishes.
And he needs to really keep it alive. Zealots have so much armor. Well, at least in the early game, they do.
Oh yeah, and with that, Stalker is able to push that Zealot away. Meanwhile, second Zealot does join the fray. The Robo finishes, the first Immortal is starting.
And PartinG, he is trying to, plan how he wants to do this. He wants to go for that pylon immediately. Needs that Immortal to not pop out.
Oh, that he does. He's investing a lot in this defense, and it looks like he almost takes out one Stalker, but two more. Oh, sorry, another Stalker does show up as well, and PartinG, it feels like he's running out of steam. Like, Trap, he's defended the Robo.
Yeah, he's trickling in a little bit too much, trying to prevent that probe from surviving, but still chase away from these very fresh Stalkers. PartinG, he knows that numbers cannot, or rather that micro cannot match up for numbers.
Exactly.
He's trying his best to defend. Only now throwing down the shield batteries.
Exactly. The shield batteries are on the way. He even pulls a couple of boys as well. He has to tank those Immortal shots because Immortals, they just chunk away at Stalkers. They make short work of them. And now he is forced back. Oh god, a War Prism on the way.
And that, I think, is the scariest part about this kind of proxy, when you are able to start juggling your Immortals, start going behind those shield battery lines. That's when PartinG is really going to have to utilize every single ounce of his micro.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the shield batteries do finish up. Overcharge is available. He's even pulling a couple of boys.
Yeah, and trying to tank the damage. But Trap coming in here with the target firing. PartinG a little bit too far forward. He actually popped the overcharge on his back shield battery.
Yes, it was
way
just
too far away.
Yeah, the majority of that overcharge was out of range, so he wasn't able to utilize that as effectively as he could. But he's trying to focus down that Immortal. The Immortal's so low.
But the juggling is on point here for Trap. And it looks like PartinG's about to get out proxied here, Light.
That it does.
Really see that.
He's trying desperately to hold on, and he does just barely get out of Void Ray. The shield batteries are still alive, and with his, so far, he has been able to hold. And with this Void Ray, like, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to War Prism micro.
It definitely is. Can't exactly juggle when you have anti-air. A single shield battery gets taken out, and there goes the Warp Prism. Still keeps the Immortal alive. GG is called. Trap moving on to the semifinals. Man. PartinG just got a bit of a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, Trap, he just goes full PartinG on his opponent, and he takes him out 2-1 and advances to that lower semifinals.